Okay, what I want to talk about now is some perfect fifths on the instrument, and we're going to learn them in a certain range of the instrument, descending. Basically, any position you play on the double bass, the container of that position, if you're using traditional style fingering, which means using third and fourth fingers together as one unit, and if you're not in thumb position, if you're not in the higher part of the bass, the container is going to be the distance from first finger to fourth finger, which if fourth finger is one string up, that's going to give you a perfect fifth in sound. If you were on the same string, that would give you a whole step interval. So one of the things you want to become aware of is if you have what's called a D neck or an E flat neck. I even had a student once in Seattle, her bass was really an E neck. Most basses that I've run into are some kind of D neck or E flat neck. Most luthiers know what you mean by this. I don't know how standardized basses are within the D or the E flat neck, but I'll stop talking about it and start showing you what I mean. Basically, and I'll turn around an angle just for a second, but if I take like the letter C, like my hand is the letter C out in space, I put my thumb kind of in between the index finger and the middle finger. And if I let my thumb come down to this part of the instrument where it won't go straight anymore, where it won't go down anymore without some effort, then I get a D natural. That's because I have a D neck. If this neck was cut a little deeper in, my hand would go a little farther and my first finger would be on E flat. So initially, I'm going to start this exercise for a D neck in essence, and then at the end I'll talk a little about just how you would modify that if you have an E flat neck. Basically, it just depends if you're starting first finger on D or first finger on E flat. So we're going to start first finger on D, and again, just so you can see this angle, I want to have the feeling that my thumb is sliding easily up and down the neck, that it's not clamping, it's not producing any unnecessary tension, and I'm bringing it to this point of the bass where it can't easily go any further. So I check my D with open D. I'm going to play chromatically up to E natural. I check that with open E, just making sure you're getting your pitches dialed in. We're creating muscle memory with these exercises for the left hand. And there I have a pretty good perfect fifth. So I've got E natural and A. Now what I'm going to do is very slowly gliss my first finger A, which is on A rather, down a half step to G sharp. And I've just checked that G sharp with open E, which is a major 10th. And then I check to see if I have the right spacing for a perfect fifth in this position. Now I'm going to take fourth finger D sharp down to fourth finger D natural. Now I'm going to check my perfect fifth there, which is D to G. Now I'm going to take fourth finger D natural down to C sharp. Which is also a major 10th again. A little sharp. And I'm choosing which finger I gliss on, whether it's first or fourth, based on the two notes in the next position down, the next perfect fifth down, and which one's going to be easier to check with an open string. So now I'm going to take fourth finger from C sharp to C natural. And notice I was just a little sharp that time, and notice what I did is I rolled my finger back. You don't have to make it a big deal. This will relate to vibrato if we do a lesson on vibrato later. But notice I didn't make any big glissando kind of motion. I just turned the little finger back just a little bit. So that's a minor 10th. And there's C to F. Now I'm going to take first finger F down to E natural. which I check with open E. And you can see that the hand position here, the stretch, has gotten quite a bit bigger than when I started up here. So that's again part of the muscle memory that you're programming in. There's my perfect fifth, E to B. Now I'm going to take first finger E natural down to first finger E flat. And I'm going to check that with open G above, which is a major third above. And then I'm going to play the perfect fifth. And now I'm going to see just once in this exercise if my middle finger spacing is good. So I'm going to play open D and middle finger A. It's just a hair flat. So again, I just roll up my... And we'll give you an exercise later that starts to clarify where a middle finger is supposed to be. But this is a good way to just start getting that perfect fifth container for this very usable part of the instrument. I'll also probably do an exercise later where we take it down on the lower strings, which is, you know, a little harder to hear maybe at first. It's a little muddier, but I think if you really get comfortable with this part of the G string first, it's still going to give you the same distances that you will need on the open strings for those various positions. I hope that's helpful.